good? Okay, bless up. Frame rate is not dying randomly. Okay, we're laughing. We are laughing. Alright, I think we should just get right into it. I've already wasted enough time. So I'm just gonna start. But the question is where to start. I think I'm gonna start with just talking about, like, the, like, absolute basics. So, Leo in this game is heavyweight, first of all. His jump arc is, like, pretty slow. He doesn't have a run, he has a step dash. And, like, he can air dash once, like normal, but he is just, in general, kind of a slower, heavier character, right? So, before I talk about literally anything, any of his normals or anything like that, I gotta talk about the literal most important thing about Leo in this game, and Leo in general. FD break. You pretty much can't play this character unless you know how to do that. Most characters in Xrd, they have runs, and you can just, like, kind of run and then block. But even that has recovery, and you should always be FD breaking. With Leo, you literally have no choice, because if you don't, he has a bunch of recovery on his dash. So, at the end of his dash, you can cancel into, like, you can cancel the recovery of his dash into normals, or into FD, or into jump. But you can't cancel in the block. So, in Strive, for example, Leo can just kind of dash block with a dash button. You just, like, dash block. It's really easy to do, actually, because you don't actually have to worry about timing it. You just kind of dashes the perfect distance, and then you can just, if you just press the button and hold down back, you dash block perfectly. I think that's actually, if I'm being real, on top of all the other reasons why Leo's good in Strive, I think that his dash blocking is, like, probably some of the best in the game, just because of that. Like, you can dash block perfectly. You don't have to worry about, you know, dashing at the right distance and stopping your run at the right time. No, you're just always perfect with it in Strive. But in this, you have to be a lot more careful, and it takes some getting used to. But honestly, you just grind that out for, like, a day, and you're fine. And you'll notice, like, at first, you'll probably do a lot of, like, dash jumping into FD to move forward. Especially against zoners. You don't want to be doing shit like this. You want to be doing shit like that, right? That's how you want to move. And I guess, like, overall, I can talk about Leo's strength in this game, too. So, obviously, in Strive, everyone knows Leo is, like, one of the S-tier characters, right? In this game, he's, like, I want to say mid-tier. Some people would say lower mid, especially after Rev 2. I wouldn't really say he's that low. I think he's good enough to be considered, like, right in the mid-tier. But he's definitely not, like, a high-tier character by any means. He's strong in the sense that, like, you can really prey on people who have no knowledge of the character. Like, he's got gimmicks for sure, but he's also got, like, stuff that's really good no matter what, and only has, like, a very few specific options that you need to know, or else you, like, will not be able to beat the character. Like, you'll just fold on defense. Because his rushdown in this game is, like, really, really intense in comparison to Strive. In Strive, he's more well-balanced, and I think they wanted to design him that way. Like, they wanted to make him more balanced, rather than just pure rushdown like he is in this game. You can play neutral in this game pretty well, but, like, not even close to how he can in Strive. Like, in Strive, like, you can actually, like, win entire matchups just with neutral. You don't even have to go in. Like, he's got way more options in terms of, like, putting pokes forward that are actually good. He's got auto guard in that game, which is actually, like, way better than it is in this game. We'll get to that. And overall, he's just more well-rounded. Like, he has better kind of quality of life stuff than he does in this game. In this game, they made him so that he has like some pretty noticeable weaknesses, but once you're in, he's just nuts. The problem is in Strive, they didn't really tone down how insane he is when he gets in and starts mixing, so that's why he's so good. Because he has all of that crazy mix-up, plus he's well-balanced. Like, sure, he's still on the slower side, but, like, there's only a handful, not even a handful, like, there's like 2 matchups where that's bad, right? Yeah, and like once people figured out how to actually get like HDP combos every single time you get a confirm to always get backstance, like he was really good. So that's a bit about like his strength relative to how he is in Strive. I guess I can get into talking about normals and stuff. Like, this is pretty much all you really need to know about his movement. We've already covered. So, obviously, in Xrd you have gatlings. You don't have, well, limited gatlings like in Strive, and, you know, the command normals are different, so we'll get into that, but I just kind of want to go over every normal really quick, explain what they do, and explain why they're good or bad. So, 5p, pretty good. 6 frames, so it's on the slower side, but it's got really good range. Hitbox is pretty big. Can serve you well as an anti-air. It can serve you well as a pressure reset. Like situations like where you just kind of want to put a quick poke forward that's kind of got a bit of range to it. Just 5p. There's going to be a couple of situations later. I'll show you some confirms you can get off of like a 5p frame trap that are really good. And some Blockstrings you can do with it too. But in general, just an all-around pretty good jab. Not the best for like a mash. Like if you want to mash out, you want to use 2p. Now 2p, this normal is like a pretty standard jab, but it's definitely not as good as like Kai 2p, for example, where it's got much bigger range, bigger hitbox, and like I think Kai 2p is plus, I want to say 1 on block, maybe plus 2, but his is minus, and so is his 5p. They're both minus on block, but that's okay because you're always canceling them into something. Like you're always doing a cancel. Like you can do like 2p into nothing, or like you can do tick throws and stuff, but you almost always want to cancel it and start a block string. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just pretty standard jab. Not much to write home about. 6p. Now this is where we get into some of the character's weaknesses. So this used to be a normal 6p, just like everyone else's. Good upper body invuln, jump cancelable. You can cancel them like close slash. I don't know what they were smoking in Rev 2.1. I think it was in Rev 2 as well when they made this change initially, but instead of a normal 6p, he now has this weird ass move that's like has no real upper body invincibility. It just has armor, like 1 hit of armor. And I can show you how this works. If do I have like a record button bound? I don't think I do. I gotta find that shit. 1 second. Button settings. Record. Oh fuck. PC. Record. Play. There we go. Okay. So normally you can, like, if you have a really good 6p or at least something with really good upper body invincibility. So for example, right? Like, and that clash too. That's just because Bandit Bringer is like, it is what it is. It's Bandit Bringer, right? So 6p does, if you're too early, you get counter hit. If your armor's active, like, it's dog shit. Now, there are situations where it's like kind of good, but what would be a good example? If I did like, let me try that. Oh, I didn't record it. Okay. So if I were to like block 5 heavy, have him like IDJS. Like, there are situations. It's fully armored. It's just armored. Oh no, sorry. If he does like, if you're saying if he like runs up and sweeps, right? It's upper body. Yeah, okay. So look, I know what you mean now. So like if he does like a sweep, for example, like he doesn't just like beat lows with the armor or anything like that. You get countered. That would be insane if you just had like hammer fall but it was stationary. Nah, it's just upper body. But yeah, like there are situations where it can be pretty good. Actually, let me do jump heavy. That might be a better way to. I'll just do a jump in, fuck it. Yeah. Like there are situations, if it's a really bad jump in, like it can work. They really fucked it up in Rev 2, I think, where like the armor didn't come out fast enough in a lot of situations. But instead of just being like, this was a stupid idea, they just decided to buff this armor. So, like, yeah, that's his 6B basically. This weird ass fucking arm move that like is just pretty much in every way inferior to having a normal 6B. So because of this, his anti-air game is actually kind of shit. So he has this, which is like a situational anti-air. Like there are times where it can work, and there are a lot of times where it really just won't. Like it's never gonna anti-air this. It is good for checking like late. You know, like if they were on to like late air dash or something. Like it can check that, but even then, it's like not always a good option, right? It doesn't have a lot of like height on the hitbox. It's more horizontal. He's got 2H, which is like pretty good, but it's more committal. But it's high reward. So a lot of the time, if you want to like, if you have the frames, you want to try and get a 2H, because then you get like this monster combo. But if you don't have the time to 2H, like on trade it's actually good, so you're okay trading with it, but it'll get stuffed a lot. You don't have like a really good reaction anti-air. You have like your flash kicks, but you don't want to over rely on them, obviously. So what I'm getting at is with this character, you really need to learn how to air throw, and like that's your main anti-air. There are characters that have like like Venom 6P or whatever, right? Who don't really need to rely on air throw as much. Leo like absolutely needs to rely on air throw. Like pretty much every time you see them jump, if you're trying to react to something, you want to like buffer IB and air throw. The other option is like he has pretty good like air to airs. His jump S is really good, but yeah, at the end of the day, you don't want to rely on this as an anti-air. It's just not great, and I am huffing insane copium that they'll like release some form of balance patch that just changes this back to being a normal 6B. Okay, so kick moves. 5k. This is like one of the cornerstones of the character right here. This move is +1 on block, moves him forward. It's similar to how it is in Strive, and I want to preface this too, like before I get any further of the character. Like, if you are a Strive Leo player, you'll feel really comfy going into Xrd Leo. He's probably the most similar character overall. Out of all the characters that they moved into Strive, he's the most similar to his Xrd counterpart. So a lot of this will feel really familiar, and then once you eventually play the character a bunch more, you'll reach a point where you can kind of keep the two separated mentally. But like if you played Strive, you know why this normal's good in Strive, and it's good for the same reasons it is here. It's moves him forward. It's plus on block. In Strive, it's not plus, but it's like minus enough that it's pretty safe. He gets his like strike throw mix up off it, so you can do like stuff like that, and then you can go into your gatlings, right? Really, really, really good normal. At first, you'll think this is oppressive. There's actually a pretty big gap here. I want to say there's a 6 frame gap. I'm pretty sure. But you can just like bully your way in with this really easily. For gatlings, he has like pretty much everything above kick you can gatling into. So like, is it slash, 2S? He can't do 5k, 6k. Like that's not a thing in this game. So you pretty much always want to go 5k close S or 5k 2S. 5k close S is really good because if you catch backdash, you get an air combo if you confirm. 5k 2S you don't, but 2S is more plus, so you have better options for resetting pressure. You can do 5k nothing into throw. You can do 5k 5H, which is good for beating FD. 5k 5D, 5k sweep, which is like not very good. 5k 2H, which is, you don't really use that very often. Yeah, really, really good normal. Not jump cancelable, but it is plus. So that's pretty much all you need to know about kick. This is your game plan starter right here. You get the game plan started with this, and then you move into whatever you want to do. 2K, same pretty much like in Strive, except now you've got gatlings, right? So you've got the same kind of thing where you can gatling into buttons that are higher than kick, but he doesn't have like 2k, 6k like he does in Strive. So you pretty much want to drill that out of your muscle memory as soon as possible. You've got into slash, into 2S, you've got 5 heavy. It's pretty much the same cancel options as 5k. And this is primarily just used as like your fastest low poke. So if you want to get a fast low, that's your best option right there. It's all right as a poke, or like a pressure reset, but you have better options. It's okay. It's just okay. It's pretty much functionally identical to Strive 2K. 6K. Again, visually the same as Strive 6K. However, this is plus 4 on block. Okay? And you can pretty much always cancel into it from your slash normals. That's like one of his best frame traps. This is a 1 frame gap. We'll get to that in a second, but this is a pressure reset tool, and it's also throw invincible for some reason. So if they try and throw you on wake up, you can like meaty them with this, and they can't. You'll counter hit them, and unless they have a good throw OS, they're getting fucked. So that's 6k. Close slash is plus 2, I want to say. Let me just fact check myself before I go lying about frame data. Yeah, it's plus 2 on block. Even though you never really use this as like a spot where it's like, okay, I'm gonna stop here and like restart my pressure. Like you can, but you have much better ways. Primarily, this button right here. 2S, also plus 4 on block. This button is, in my opinion, one of Leo's best buttons. It's criminally underused, in my opinion. Like, I think every Leo player absolutely needs to use this normal. It's fucking busted. This normal is 10 frame startup. Again, looks pretty much identical to his Strive 2S, right? But plus 4. So you can do shit like that. This is a 1 frame gap. 1 frame unthrowable gap. Like, that is an insanely strong frame trap right there that is gonna... You can, like, just roll people with this all day. Close slash, if you 5k close slash, like, because you're, you know, pressuring and you want to, like, you confirm that they're blocking, they're not getting hit off, like you're in neutral. Oh, they didn't backdash? Cancel into 6k, you're plus 4. They have to IB that, or they're just gonna have to block all over again. So you can just like oppress people with just that. And I'll get into like Blockstrings after I'm done talking about normals, but that's another one of the normals that's very important to S. And it's also extremely low profile. So when he does this, his hurt box like disappears halfway up his body, and he's like, he can do shit like, he can 2S under May Dolphin, for example, and like counter hit May Dolphin because the hitbox is so big. It doesn't have a lot of range, but if you get in with it, this normal is fucking insane. Far Slash. Okay, so this normal is another good kind of block string ender. It's a really good disjointed poke too. So if you do stuff like 2k, 6k, and do that, that's a good way to score a counter hit. Cancel options. He has. Oh, actually, before I was reminded about whiff cancels. So Leo has whiff cancels in this game. You can whiff cancel 5p, 5k, like that. I'm pretty sure you can do the same thing. Like, you can do 5p, 5k, I think. And then I know 2p, 5k for sure. And Far Slash is whiff cancelable into 5 heavy. So that's really important for pressure and neutral. And then, speaking of whiff cancels, when it comes to another important use for 2S, you do Far Slash 2S, and on whiff, you can like do shit like that, or like dash up 5k. So another reason why 2S is so fucking good is that it has like no whiff recovery either. So you do that and then like reset pressure, but we'll get to that in a bit. So yeah, far as disjointed, not very safe on block, but you're always canceling it into either rekka. You can jump cancel it, but the jump cancel window's late, so it's really, really good to like ID at them after. You've got the whiff cancel. You can do that on block as well, obviously. And also, this is his first instance of where you can guard point. So if you know Strive, he can guard point off of his Far Slash and his 5 heavy. He can do that also in this game, just works a little different. In Strive, you just hold the button, and he goes into the stance. In this game, you have to hold punch. So you hold punch, and he starts auto-guarding. When he's auto-guarding, he will auto-guard everything except supers. And he's in counter hit recovery, and he can't auto-guard lows. So mids and highs, not supers, not lows, and he can be thrown. So that's actually another one of the reasons why it's a lot better in Strive, is just because I think it beats supers. I don't actually remember, but I'm pretty sure you can auto-guard supers. In this game, you can't. So it kind of sucks. But you're not really going to use this too much. It's good in some matchups, and it's good for burst OSs, which we'll also get to later. But that's pretty much it for Far Slash. Really good disjointed poke, good for neutral, good for ending block strings. All around pretty good normal. Oh, you can also do gatling into 6H. We'll get to that in a sec, because 6H is another crucial normal. I think that's it. Yeah, I did close slash 2S and Far Slash. Okay. 5 heavy. This is another character defining normal right here. This is obviously very different from Strive 5 heavy. It does hit both sides. So, like you see, he swings his swords to both sides. There is a hitbox on both swords. -3 on block. So, relatively safe. A lot of range. Really easy to just like counter hit confirm into rekkas or whatever you want to do. You have a lot of time on normal hit, honestly, to confirm into rekkas. Like, that was me doing it unbelievably slow. And that's just like that was even slow. You have tons of time. Amazing normal. Guard point if you hold punch. This is, you can't use it for option select, so you can for Far Slash, but it's good sometimes. And it's good against like Slayer, for example. You can like, if they're trying to do like Dandy into Pile Bunker or like Mappa. Or like, if like Soul's doing Fafnir a lot, you can like play neutral like that, like swing. If you're worried about getting whiff punished by Fafnir, just throw out the auto guard. You're good to go. Yeah, all around good normal. Gatling options, not too many. I didn't talk about like Gatling options for his slash moves really, but it's just like his heavies basically, and that doesn't combo. So like 2S, you have to either like dash and link 2P, or do sweep. And then Gatling, or like Gatling into 6K. Far slash, you can Gatling into heavies. You can't do 2H. Oh, you actually can, it's just useless. And then sweep. 5 heavy, you can do 6H Gatling, or 2D Gatling, that's it. Or special cancel. So, one of the main issues with this normal is, despite how good it is, if they instant block it, you can pretty easily be thrown, even if you special cancel. So that's why you have to rely on doing that into sweep, which is punishable. And then this into this is throwable with AIB. So, something to keep in mind, but most of the time you're just going to be using this as like a long range poke that you just confirm into rekkas. It also goes into stance. And we'll get more into stance stuff later, but that's going to be really important. So keep that in mind. 2H, situational anti-air. Huge combo on counter hit, nothing really on normal hit. That's pretty much all you need to know about that. 6H, this is a pressure reset tool. It looks almost the same as the Strive 6H. It's +5 on block. Yeah, it's +5. Just had to double check, but yeah, this is like one of his main pressure reset tools. Your +5, you just go in and just keep pressuring them. It's good for combos too. It cranks risk like crazy. Really, really good normal. You'll use this pretty much all the time, whether it's for combos or for pressure. I use it like way more in this game. I think I barely use it in Strive. It's like you only really use it if you, because in Strive you reset pressure by doing like the reverse beat shit, and then you can reverse beat into this to like make them think that you're plus, but you actually still have to reverse beat into another slasher heavy. You can't just like do this and be +5 and then run in for a throw or something, right? So that's like, when you're pressuring with this character, like you're just going for strike throw constantly and checking how scared they are or how well they know how to defend, right? So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of this normal. 5D, -1 on block. Sweep is -5. It's pretty much the same. Like, that's pretty much all his normals. His jump P is like pretty good as like like if you want to check them in the air. His jump K, I'm gonna talk about last because it's fucking busted. His jump S is a good air-to-air and like combo filler. Jump H is like pretty whatever. Hitbox is alright, but it's not much to write home about in comparison to Jump K. Jump D is another thing they fucked up in Rev 2. It used to be one hit, and you can get like cool counter hit combos if you counter hit them with this. Now it's like a weird 3-hit normal that you pretty much can't do anything with. On hit, you have to cancel it into, well, it depends on how you do it, but you have to cancel into that, or else you're gonna get thrown a lot of the time. It's height dependent, and the frame data varies, but overall, it's not that great in comparison to what it was, and even before it wasn't that great. But it's a way to alter your air momentum, and you know, it has some uses in combos. Like for example, if you do like DP, RC, and then you whiff jump D and 6H, it's pretty good. But other than that, not great. Now, this fucking normal right here. This is going to be your best friend and your enemy's worst nightmare. This shit right here is like fucking Adachi Jump B in Persona. It's like Order Soul Jump H in +R. This normal is fucked. It's got 14 active frames. I told everyone that it had 12. It's actually 14. Just like a fucking insane jump in, right? There's some characters that straight up cannot do anything about this, this normal. Like, you fight like a bedman. There's no such thing as doing a bad jump in against bedman when you have this. Straight up, like bedman cannot do shit about this normal, unless he 6Ps it like perfectly. But like the reward versus the risk on that, like bedman gets no reward for a 6P, like barely any. I do like that into just like kill you, right? Insane. I cannot overstate how good this normal is. Like that right there is like that's your day one basically. Dash jump at them, do jump K into jump S for like, if it hits, you get an easy confirm. If they block it, you're plus, because it just Blockstrings them all the way down. You know what I mean? Like, if you just do this and then do nothing, then you can get thrown. But if you just do this all day, you're laughing. And this is not just like good at low level either. Like, this is good at every level. Dash jump over a poke, hit or block, you're winning the match. Straight up. I would say his most defining normals are 5K, 5H, and this jump K. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's all of his normals. All of them have their uses, but there are some that are definitely less useful than others, for sure. So you'll typically only see, like, you won't see a lot of this from me personally. I don't really use 2K that much. Unless it's like I'm going for like a mix-up or something. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess I'm going to talk about Blockstrings now, because, well, actually, before I do that, I'll talk about, like, confirms, right? So, your basic confirm with Leo is you pretty much want to do stuff into rekkas. So, maybe that's a better place to start with, is his specials, because I talked about his normals, but I haven't talked about his specials yet. So, for specials, Leo has his sonic booms and in this game, they're rekkas. So in Strive, they took away his rekkas and just gave him this and this. But in Xrd, he has this. Alright, he has a rekka series. And so that's just core circle forward into core circle heavy, and then the last one you input backwards. No matter what. So these cannot cross up if you do a block string before it, but you always input the final rekka as quarter circle back. So you'll notice, if you look at my inputs, it's not like you're doing quarter circle forward in the opposite direction. You're always doing quarter circle back. So like max range / slash. So you see there, I did max range / slash and did the rekka series. I still had to input the last rekka as a quarter circle back, even though it hit in front. So that's important to remember. But anyway, rekkas are a big part of his game plan too. So rekka 1 is -1 on block. That's another good way to restart your pressure with this character, is just rekka 1 into, like, rekka 1 into jab, rekka 1 into, like, jump. Because it's good. It moves him forward and it's relatively safe. If you do rekka 1 into rekka 2, it crosses up. This is -3. So it's the same situation as if you do 5 heavy into stance. Here's -3. So this is like a lot of day one like scrubby Leos will do this because you just want to get into stance and just like go nuts, right? On instant block, if you instant block the first hit, you can get thrown out of the second. Here, let me actually switch to Leo real quick, just to show you what that looks like. But yeah, his rekkas are a pretty important part of his game plan. In general, you just really don't want to over rely on them because they are not like a free get in move. Right? Like, that's always throwable. If you do, like, if you do IB on the first hit and Leo does something else, like, he can frame trap you, but if you, like, for example, Melia, if she does 4H, she can pretty much beat everything Leo does after Rekka 1 on instant block, except, like, backdash or jump, but even backdash, you get, like, nothing. Jump, you can actually jump in on her, but, she can recover in time. But overall, like, doing this is not good. Doing the last hit is -7, so you're punishable. But if it hits in front, you're a lot safer. And also, if they FD, you're a lot safer. So that's another important thing to mention. On FD, so this is where Rekka 1 becomes extremely important. Like, forget doing this, honestly. Like, don't do that. Like, just forget it. There's way better ways to play, much better ways to play this character. This is now +1 on FD. So, if they're pushing you out because they don't want to block, like, you know, I don't want to get put at +4 or minus, like, I don't want him to be +4 off this. I want to push him out so he starts whiffing and I can whiff punish him, right? If you do that, now you're +1. So this audit, like, it becomes oppressive because you can restart your pressure a lot easier. You're still gonna get pushed out, but making this plus is not good, right? So that's something to keep in mind. If you normal block this, he can start mixing up from stance, but he's -3, so you can, like, mash him out of it. But then that's when he starts doing this. And we're gonna get to stance in a sec. So fireballs, pretty much the same as Strive. He has the light and the heavy one. The heavy one has a lot more startup than it looks, kind of like in Strive. But in Strive, it starts up way faster, where people try and jump in on it and get hit. In this, you can just, like, that's not even active yet. It's active, like, now. Flash kick. S version has a really small amount of invincibility. That's better as, like, a preemptive anti-air, or, like, if you want to trade with someone who might be trying to safe jump you, you do SDP. You pretty much, as a reversal, always want to do HTP. Same shit like it is in Strive. Really good reversal, but really punishable. And you get worse Oki. Like, his Oki off of HTP in Strive is, like, he gets back turn. In this, he gets, like, nothing. Like, you do a meaty, basically. You, like, be 6k or whatever, but you don't get the best Oki. Also, charge times are longer in this game. So, this takes a lot longer to charge. This takes a lot longer to charge. You can't just, like, it's a lot harder to just do this, like, than it is in Strive. What else? He's got Berserker Slash, obviously. It's the same, functionally. They don't really get, they get hit standing, they don't get launched or whatever. And that's, like, pretty much always. If it's an air hit, they get, like, juggled. But standing, they just kind of, it's just that. And it's the same. It's slower, but it's functionally the same. Goes into stance, and then you can start your game point from there. What else am I missing? He has this. This is just an air combo ender and, like, an anti-air. That's pretty much it. You don't really use it for anything else. So, like, for example, you do that, it ends the combo, and you're in stance. It restants them, and you're +3. What am I missing? I think that's it. We'll talk about stance now, I guess. So stance in this game, again, very similar to Strive, but also very different. So let me make him block. Correction. So this is +2 in this game, I believe. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it is. Where is stance? I'm like 99% sure, I just don't want to lie. Yeah, it's +2. So this is the oppressing session right here. You can just hold forward and keep doing this. And in Strive, this is throw invincible, because he jumps in the air, kind of. And this is not throw invincible at all. However, this is, and so is this. His punch and his kick are throw invincible, so whenever you get Oki... So... the typical, like, run into stance and then meaty them kind of thing, you're actually meeting them with a throw invincible move. Which is why this is so good, because people will try and mash throw if they see you really close. But kick and punch are both throw invincible. So if they do that, they just get fucked. That is something you absolutely need to know if you're going to fight this character, is you do not want to mash throw on him, because that just is, you're giving him free damage. Yes, completely throw invincible. Other than that, he's got slash, looks the same, works the same. It is -1, so relatively safe. But as same in Strive, you can't block, so it doesn't really matter. But it's like, you can kind of do that into that. And it's like, if they're being really respectful, they can crank their wrist really fast. This is, I forget what punch is. It's -2, but you pretty much never just do this on its own. You're always canceling into that. Or the overhead. The overhead is pretty much the same. It's 18 frames, just like in Strive. And then you can link into slash, or you can combo into super. +6 on block is this overhead. +6 on block. You might think, wow, that's really fucked up. It is really fucked up. But if you FD him out, even though, like, if you FD or normal block, he still can't really do much. On IB, you can kind of try to take your turn. But basically the idea is it's plus, so if you block it, he's still, like, it's like, he can't just get a turn back for free, but it's like one more interaction, and you better be right or else you're dead. He can't stance cancel his normals like he can in Strive. So he can't, like, make a mix-up out of, like, either that or, like, cancel into that. And he can't really do, like, this into low. Because, like, they can just down back. That's not a mix-up, really. Because they're just waiting to react to that, right? So his game plan and stance is a lot more just kind of like stagger and then, like, threaten the overhead. So that's pretty much it. He can dash through like he can in Strive. Yeah, overhead's still 18 frames. And he has all of his... Actually, he doesn't have, like, the pillar. Like, I think I mentioned that at the start. He doesn't have his 214S. Maybe I didn't mention it, but yeah, he does not have 214S. Instead, like, he doesn't have 214S in normal stance, but in back stance, he has raw third rekka. So raw third rekka is pretty much used as, like, a combo ender or, like, a really long range. Like, if you're, like, right here and you think they're gonna, like, do something, and you're like, you don't really have anything to threaten with anymore, you can just, like, do that and hope you catch them. It's also throw invincible, so, like, you can kind of catch people sometimes, but it's, like, really risky to throw out. That's another thing I forgot to mention about this. The Rekka series, the last hit, like, between 2 and 3 is throw invincible, so you should never mash throw there. You should just, like, block the last hit and punish, basically. about specials. Oh yeah, this. So in Strive, this causes guard crush. In this game, it's an overhead. But if you block it standing, you have to like mash out with buttons. And he leaves stance, and you can't do the shit like you can in Strive, where you can like go back into stance by holding the button. If you do it in this game, he always leaves stance. So basically, you can RC to get a combo. You can do that into that. You can do like the combo counter won't show it as there. It won't show up, but it's a combo. The combo counter doesn't start until after the second hit, rather. Is a better way of phrasing it. But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, like, if you can do that, and like if they're looking for the overhead, they'll get hit by that, and then you can either RC for a combo or just like take your. You're not actually that plus if they mash out of it fast enough, but it's still pretty good. It's just not like insane like it is in Strive, but it's good to throw it every now and again. The only thing is it's only active for 1 frame, so it is pretty easy to just kind of like. Let me record Leo doing it on me. Did I record? Yeah, I did. Okay. Oops. So you can mash out of it. I think the gap is 7 frames. But you gotta be fast, or else you're fucked. Because on counter hit, that's really bad. And, of course, not everyone is willing to just mash on Leo. So, it's good to throw it every now and again. If you're close enough, you can also throw it, but obviously he's going to be spacing, so that doesn't happen. And some people might try to mash on it like from far away and get counter hit, and he'll trade favorably. So that's pretty much how that works. I think that's everything. Oh, this is jump cancelable. That's the only other thing you need to know. So if you anti-air with it, you can do like a jump cancel combo. Jump cancel it, air combo into this as an enter. Can you punish if you backdash? Pretty much. Like, I'll have to set him to block. Oops. That's an option. You don't have to backdash, but if you want to, you can. And a lot of the time, it's actually good to backdash. You just have to, like, the problem with this is, like, your timing has to be right, or else, like, it's advantageous for Leo. So if you do, like let's say you want to backdash this and punish, like, you can do that. But if you backdash late, you're dead. If you, like, backdash too early, you might not get the time to do a combo. If you don't backdash at all, then you're just getting hit. But it's not a bad option. Of course, the other option is just jump, but you have to FD, right? But it's not like a just you can leave type deal. Like, you can't just be like, alright, see ya, forward jump, I'm out of there, because the hitbox is pretty big. Right? A lot of people will try to upback out of this. And I honestly don't think it's a good idea in a lot of situations, unless you're FDing, because overhead will hit you anyway, so. The other option, of course, is blitz. Or like DP if you have one. But yeah, pretty important to know that there's only one active frame, so it's not like you're really like the gap is still big enough that you have options. Okay, I think that pretty much covers all of his specials. I don't think I missed any. Oh, fuck, of course. How could I forget? Back to D. So in this game, it works the same as in Strive, except it also takes bursts. And the implications of this are staggering. You will pretty much always just kind of be able to guess when they burst in stance and do it. There's no point at which you can't get their burst if you read it. So that's fun. But there's also option selects you can do. So the way that works is it's a hit stop OS where I am basically hiding the dust input in the hit stop of the move or the block stop of the move. So if they are blocking, let's see, crouching. So you see the inputs are being hidden behind the block stop of the normals. And basically what this does is if they gold burst on wake up, the kick will whiff and the dust will take it. If they burst the punch, then the second kick will whiff and the other dust comes out. So it's really useful. The only thing is that if it's designed so that this comes out on whiff, so if you backdash and you're just whiffing this, they can punish it. The thing is, this has like really hard to see recovery. So there's no actual visual indicator as to where the recovery is. Even though there is a lot of it, it's like 37 frames of recovery. I think the move is. Let me think now. It is strike invul for the first 2 frames. On the third frame, the reflect comes out, and then I think it has 17 frames of recovery, so it's 37 total. So basically, a lot of recovery, but the Leo is gonna do a second one every single time, because it's like either they get punished for it, or they punish the punish, basically, right? But there's setups where if they at high level, if they know you're gonna do the option select, they can like backdash and 6H or something, right? But yeah, this move in this game, it beats everything except throws, and I think a couple of unblockable moves. So like Faust's command grab unblockable thing. I think if the animation comes out, you can parry it. He only like gets hit by it if he gets like grabbed. Elfelt's unblockable shot cannot be parried, and Undertow from Slayer can't be parried. But like the situations in which you need to parry those moves are like never, so it doesn't matter. This move is like another character defining move. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you can unstance, but he has to unstance in neutral. Like I said before, you can't unstance, like, stance cancel his normals to be more plus or anything. So in general, in stance, you threaten plus frames with this. This is your anti-air / like, cranks a little bit more risk and lets you kind of, like, change up what you're doing. This is your overhead combo starter extraordinaire. This is your big neutral button that also cranks a lot of risk. Use this to open them up if they're not, they're being too respectful and not trying to escape, or they're just like trying to react to the overhead, or if they're just guessing on the overhead and they're standing up like that, you can kind of just like do that instead. And then just do combos after that. That's pretty much it for stance. I'm going to get into Blockstrings now, because that's pretty much what I've wanted to talk about this whole time. So this character, unlike Strive, where like you kind of do like a couple of hits and then it's, you know, forced interaction. In this, it's you can really continue your pressure almost infinitely if they don't know how to block actively. If they don't have active defense, you can just like really just meme the fuck out of them. Like they have to know when to FD, when to IV, what's plus, what's not, that kind of thing. So you want to start your game plan with like a dash 2p into this. So like that's +1 I can throw. Or I can restart my pressure with a jab, right? Or I can gatling, right? So you have pretty much the best way to put it is no matter what you do in your block string, unless it's like 5 heavy or sweep, you have a way to restart your pressure. So if I start doing like block string from 5k, I can do this, I can do that, that's +4. That's a 1 frame gap into another move, that's +4. Whiff cancel. I can do far slash if I want to be more kind of like spaced out off of far slash. I can either do IED, jump K at them. I could do rekka, which is spaced so that if they, so if you do like far slash into rekka, if you do jab after and they try to poke, like a lot of time you'll counter hit, you get a counter hit jab into far slash. That is something I use a lot. I don't really see other Leos do it too much, but I think that's insanely fucking good. Off of like space rekka or like that, just like putting a 5p forward is really, really strong as a counterpoke. 2S, again, like +4, you can run up, throw. Really important, you always want to run up, throw. If you're close enough, you can kind of just like walk forward and throw. Same thing with this. And you always want to option select your throws in this game, because you don't want to get this. So, like, 5k, just walk up, throw, or like, do that and throw. Pretty much, the cornerstone of his offense is at any point in his pressure, you can decide, I'm going to run up and throw them because they're respecting you too much. And in Strive, you kind of see Leo players do that sometimes, but like it's never that like you have to really condition them in Strive because everything's minus, right? In this, it's like, no, this is straight up like, that is +4. You have to deal with whatever the fuck I'm going to do next, right? Like whether that's going to be a dash up 2p or like a 5k. Pretty much everything you do as Leo, you want to be thinking, okay, how am I going to either frame trap or throw them? Everything. Like, that's your whole game plan. I think it's more important to do that than it is to find ways to go into stance. And the reason why I say that is because, like, people are really going to be looking out for you trying to go into stance with 5 heavy. So if you're just doing like this, like day one shit, like they're looking for that, right? They're looking to not just get randomed out by like some scrub doing this, right? Or like they're gonna be looking for like that into rekkas, right? So when it comes to structuring your offense, you pretty much always want to block string them and pressure reset with one of your +1 block advancing moves. So you have to basically just vary it up. And then if they're respecting you way too much, there are safe ways to go into stance. So it's like if they're FDing, like if they FD 2S for example, you can gatling into 5 heavy and you're in stance safely. You can do stuff like 5p 5p into 5 heavy hold to go into stance. You can do stuff like that to go into stance, but in general, like it's better to just take your plus frames, like that's +5, right? Like I'm plus almost all the time. You can do 6k on plus. That it forces them to IV, and when they're focusing on IVing, that's when you can do shit like that, right? And then, like, you know, get a monster combo. It doesn't really like always pan out depending on the matchup. Like some characters are really good at just like FDing Leo out, counter like Johnny can just like FD 5k or far slash, or like IB throw option select. It's really good. Amelia, same deal. She can always just kind of like do for 4H. But yeah, your game plan is always just gonna be like stuff like that, right? And then when they respect you too much, you run up and throw them. If they're mashing, you frame trap them. It really doesn't get much simpler than that. He always has a way to keep his turn going. Always. He's like, the only time he ever will lose his turn is if you're blocking in such a way where like, you're either fuzzy jumping to get out, or you're like instant blocking and throwing. Or the Leo's like getting desperate because you're like blocking correctly. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna go into stance. And then like if he notices that you're just guarding this, if you instant block this, you have no choice but to sweep, or else you're pretty much fucked. So a good example is like the throw, obviously, right? You can IB throw it, which is strong because the vacuum, like, even though the vacuum is really good for starting his offense, if he's -5 off of an instant block, he's gonna get thrown most of the time. And thanks for the raid, Ray. And so pretty much his only option at that point, because that'll get thrown, going into stance will get thrown, he has to sweep, and sweep's -5. So the only time you really... Yeah, it was good meeting you too, dude. The only time you're really limited in what you can do in a block string is when you go into this. So pretty much you want to avoid doing that unless they're like FDing and you recognize like, oh, he's FDing here because he wants to push me out to either like throw out a big poke or leave with a jump or whatever. You can go into stance and then continue that way. The other thing is, like, just like in Strive, at any point, if you don't think they have good reactions, you can just do that, right? Like, pretty much whenever you want, you can berserker slash. Same deal. And then, like, if you're ever in a situation where you want to kind of reset to neutral, you can whip 2S, dash jump with the godlike jump K. It's really, really easy to, like, rush down with this character. A lot of people like to think he's brain dead just because he can like go into stance and shit. Like that is actually not good at all. Like, good players will blow that up with like IB throw or whatever. There's a ton of different options that characters have. Like they can just fuzzy jump a lot of it too. But the real shit is when you know when you're plus, how to keep resetting your pressure, how to keep them guessing, right? Like on +4 here, I'm gonna throw. I'm going to do my good frame trap because they can't instant block or they're mashing too much, right? He's a character that preys on habits, right? If you can sniff out a bad habit that your opponent has, like if you know they love to mash, you can do your block strings that are good at beating mash. If you know they FD too much, you can do your block strings that put you into stance for free. Or you can start abusing shit like Rekka 1 because it's plus on FD. You can also just like build a charge while you're doing your block string, and if they FD, that's plus, right? So if you, where is the block type? Can't follow this. So if you're doing like that, that's gonna start. You're gonna start whiffing, right? Because they're just like pushing you out. But if they only FD the last hit, that's plus, right? So if they are normal blocking the first few hits of your block string, and then like you get to far slash and they start FDing, that's plus on block. So you can dash up 5p to restart your pressure, or whatever you want to do. So I guess like the crucial pressure resets would be like whenever you're plus, you can either choose to frame trap or throw them. So you want to do either 5k, dash 2p. If it's a far slash, you can do your Rekka, or you can do IAD jump K. And then I guess you can do like dash up 2k as well. Dash up 2s or like 2s again if they're really respecting. But a lot of it just depends on where you are spacing wise and how they're blocking, right? If you're more plus from FD, you want to take advantage of that and do things you aren't normally able to do, like that, right? Or like you can do stuff like that, and the gap becomes smaller. The other thing I didn't mention is that Berserker Slash. So if it hits in front, that's plus. And I think it's +1 if it hits in front, or sorry, if they block it in front, and +2 if they block it behind, but no one's blocking that shit behind. You're either getting hit or you threw it. Where is this fucking move? Not Dust Loot. I gotta make sure I'm not lying about frame data. Yeah, it's +1 if it hits in front. So if they're FDing, it becomes +3. And that's something that's like gonna make a lot of people suffer. If they're like too reliant on one option, you can blow them up. So your opponent is basically forced to use FD, instant block, abare, DP, jumping, whatever. Like they're forced to mix up and vary their defense, just like how you can vary your offense. That's one of the strengths of the character. It's kind of like one of the weaknesses, I guess, would be that he has to actually get in to start his game plan, and that can be pretty hard against some characters, but once he's in, he's like really impressive. And then stance kind of works the same way, where like if they're FDing too much, you can like dash back in for free. If they're instant blocking a lot, you can mess with their IB timing. Really good players are just gonna either wait for to react to the overhead, or they're gonna fuzzy jump out or fuzzy mash. But his strike throw game is definitely nowhere near as good in stance in comparison to in normal mode. In Strive, it's like the opposite, right? In Strive, he has like way better mix-up from stance because he can stance cancel the normals to either throw or go low or whatever. And in front stance, he doesn't really have good strike throw because it's either just going to be, okay, we're interacting off of my 5k or my close slash. But it's not like he can just like do shit like this, right? And make people scared. Like, he can't really do that. He's more well-equipped to just kind of play neutral. And once he gets the hit, then he goes into stance and goes nuts, right? Your mix-up in stance in this game is if you're mid-screen, you can dash through. Or you threaten the overhead, and then you like frame trap, like stagger with your plus on block, advancing low, right? And they're throwing invincible. That's pretty much it. I just went over like the whole character on a basic level, but I want to share like some of the busted shit that I use all the time with this character, and that I think like people who want to play Leo like need to know, right? So let me just, I think I took some notes about shit that I want to, and I'm not going to talk too much about combos because I want to make a separate video that's just combos, and that's going to be like pre-recorded. Oh, okay, yeah, actually I got to talk about this first. I got to talk about burst baits. So Leo is the kind of character where at any point, because you can vary up, like you're always plus and you can vary up your offense in a lot of ways, he has a really good arsenal, right, of burst safe pressure and combos, right? So you can do shit like this. You can stop at any point and always bait burst pretty much. Because he's always plus. Like, and when he's not plus, he has, like on moves like this, he has the guard point OS. So write this shit down if you're gonna play this character, because like this, it's too good to not put in your game plan. So when you're doing a normal gatling string, a lot of Leos, what they'll want to do is they'll just want to do shit into rekkas, right? So you can bait burst at any point in your basic B&B, right? Bait burst here by stopping your combo, can bait burst here by jump canceling. You can bait burst here by doing this. And if you get to the rekka, you can stop bait burst there too. But if your opponent's not bursting, you're just dropping your combo for no reason, right? So if you want to get damage, Oki, and OS burst, here's what you do. Okay, so what you're gonna do is, here's what the combo would look like without him bursting. You do stuff into close slash, far slash, 2D, right? And you'll notice that I'm holding punch while I'm doing that. This makes the close slash completely burst safe. And then off of guard point, if your guard point blocks anything in this game, in Strive, the way it works is when your guard point activates, and even when it doesn't activate, you can just cancel into the special follow-up thing where you like punch in the air like this. In this game, he doesn't have that. Instead, if the guard point blocks anything, you can cancel into any of his heavy moves. So 5 heavy, 6 heavy, or 2 heavy, right? If you're just holding it like that, there's a moment of time where he can't do it, but eventually he'll be able to. And if you just hold it like this, eventually he turns around on his own. So the way this OS works is, you'll notice that I do, and I do like the string, so it's punch, or it doesn't matter how you start it, as long as you go into close slash, far slash, 2D for the knockdown. And then what I do is, while I'm holding punch, I throw in heavy slash, forward heavy slash inputs at the end. What this does is, if they burst the close slash, you get that as your punish. If they don't burst, none of that comes out. You don't get your guard point. I'll turn burst off. You don't get your guard point, and the heavy inputs are hidden behind the sweep. So if you want to bait burst, that's the way to do it. The other option is, if you're down backing, you can just do that, but it's way less damage than buffering into 6 heavy after. So you get this air combo, knock them down, stance in the corner. It's really fucking good. So that's one really good burst OS. You can't really OS burst with this. Like, it just doesn't work. Yeah, that's always a hard read. But the other one is the one I explained before, where if you are in stance and you want to OS burst, you can do the hit stop OS, where you hide the dust input behind the hit stop or the block stop of your stance moves. Where is the... I don't know who just followed me, but thank you. Is he blocking everything? No, he's not even blocking. Block everything. Block switching and 8. Okay. So it works on block 2. That's what I'm getting at. Scarlet Fame, thanks for following. So on block, if you do it right, those dust inputs will never come out. And the whole point of that is just to option select burst. Either the first input, so this, that will let you do a meaty stance K while OSing Wake Up Gold Burst. The second input, the kick slash dust, that OS's burst if they burst the punch. Just like that. You'll know you got it right if there's no startup animation for the shield. But it makes the punch completely burst safe, and it makes it so they can't wake up gold burst. So it's worth doing, and it's really low risk unless they call it out, because they would have to like backdash and make this whiff in order to get like a counter hit starter. but it's not bad. What are some other good burst safe routes? I guess, well, I guess I can talk about his, so, off of his super in the corner, the combo you want to do is, in general, like, actually, let me make him not burst first. In general, like, easy combo is just, like, get the super off, 6 heavy, you can like dash up close slash or do 5k close slash, and then you do air combo and 240 damage free, right? Naturally, people are going to want to burst here. So how do you beat that? Well, first of all, if they burst this, you can read it and shield it. That's pretty much your only option there. People tend to burst the overhead a lot because they know the super's coming. Pretty similar to like Strive in that regard. They obviously can't burst the super hit, so if they burst on the third hit, you can block. It's +5, it recovers way before they can get their burst out. If they burst close slash, which is what I normally do, I do this, run close slash, you can OS throw their burst. So the way that works is bursts are throwable in this game if you don't know that. And basically what ends up happening is when you jump cancel your close slash, you do jump S+H while holding forward. So on hit you get throw, if they burst, you throw their burst. Or sorry, on hit you get jump slash, if they burst, you throw their burst. So then, what if they burst jump slash? So you can jump cancel both hits, and then you can do a hit stop OS on the second hit. It's hard to do, but basically the idea is at the timing at which you would jump cancel the second hit of jump S, you can block for a few frames and then input jump heavy for the next part of your combo. And you get, usually you'll block their burst. But you see there I did it too early, because I got jump cancel and then just got hit. But I stole this from Tomo. It's definitely something worth practicing. I try it all the time. I only get it rarely. It's not easy to do. But the idea is you want to find the timing at which you would hit with the second hit of jump slash. And you just up back, block for a few frames, then jump heavy. But the other thing you always want to do is when you're doing air combos. Alright, let me set him for a sec. 7th hit. You always want to put an RC behind jump 236H. And the reason for this is because on hit, it locks out their burst and it locks out your RC. So you'll notice there, like, they couldn't burst, I couldn't RC. So it's always worth it to just do that at the end. The only time it'll come out is if they burst. You just block it. What else do I want to talk about? I guess just like Oki setups and stuff. So off of throw, you always have enough time to get a left right. It's ambiguous. You don't have to worry about being thrown because it's throw invincible. If you get any hit, you can always do dash up H boom for Oki. You can do That's your basic like B&B. On standing, you kind of want to just combo into 5 heavy and do it. On crouching, you can get some pretty cool crouching confirms with 6k. Right? So his combo theory is basically like if they're crouching, you can any of those like 1 frame gap situations become a combo. Same thing with counter hit. So you can get some pretty fat combos if they're crouching or if they get counter hit at any point. You know, shit like that. What else should I talk about for Oki? I'll show you the... So, Mr. K came up with this, and I stole it from him back in the day. Sweet blocks high, okay. You dash H boom, wire C, and then you're in stance with plus frames. And they can't really throw it. Like, they can, but it's really hard to do. If they guard cancel the first hit, the guard cancel will whiff, which is hilarious. And of course, there's always the option to safe jump off of the Rekka Ender. So his 2 main enders are going to be, like for knockdown, are going to be Sweep, and they're going to be Rekka. So off of Rekka, you can always get your Berserker Slash. You can do dashing H-Boom, or you can do a safe jump. You can also do the Tomo mix-up, which is just like IAD left-right, and that's also a safe jump. And you can always just choose to go low if they're like blitzing or whatever. But usually going low off of stuff like that means you get thrown, so just keep that in mind. You have to really condition them first. But in my opinion, I think like if you want an easy way to just like get your game plan started off of like Rekka knockdown, just do like dash jump, jump K, jump slash. If you're playing against a character that has a DP. If you're not, and you just want to go right into stance, just do that. There's a bunch of cheap shit. You can like really do like whatever you want off this knockdown. You do that, you can like go for that kind of crazy shit. You can do whatever. A lot of people like to do this. You know, like they'll do, depending on how far they are, they might do like that. Try and go into stance. If you make contact with 5 heavy, you get vacuumed, so it's kind of like good, but in my opinion, that's like one of the weaker OP setups. The idea with Leo, game plan wise, is you want to always save your meter for your win condition, which is having them in the corner with at least 50 meter to either do super or like kill them off of 2 mix-ups, right? Because in the corner, what you want to do is like you get your mix-up started with this wire C, just do a mix-up, high-low. You either do like low land with 2k or you do late air dash, jump K 5 heavy. That's like really basic. Your other option, of course, is you can just go into stance and then mix from there. Ideally, you want to land this, right? That's like, that is your win condition, essentially, is getting them to the point where they are respecting you enough that they get hit by this overhead. Because then once you do that, you confirm into that, and then you just do combo. Right? Look at that. 260 damage off an overhead. That's really, really good. You need that 50 meters. So when people start relying on wire C to just play their game in neutral, or to like get Oki started in neutral, you're really shooting yourself in the foot, right? Because you're killing your tension game by doing that. It's kind of confusing the way it works, but essentially there's something in this game called tension pulse. And the way tension pulse works is if you spend meter on stuff that you spend meter on RCs, then it really kills it. But I think it's if you spend your meter on anything, it kills your tension pulse. But it basically it limits the amount of tension you're able to gain back after you spend it. That's the easiest way I can explain it. So if you're constantly doing shit like this, or you're constantly like doing, you know, like stuff like into RC on their wake up. I fucked it up there, but you get the idea. If you're like constantly doing that to try and get them off you, or they're like blocking and you don't really know how to open them up, and then you're like, oh well, they're gonna counterpoke me, so I'm gonna do projectile YRC, right? Like, that's fine, but you're way better off doing meterless options. Super is okay for tension game, you're right, Cam. But the reason why that is because, like, normally when you're spending super, you're either like confirming a hit or you're doing it on wake up, and so you're not really, it's not really good to be penalized for that. So for example, I'll just like do, I don't know if I have regen on, but you'll notice like after I do that, like there is a little bit of a penalty, but it's not as bad as if I had done like, oh, I don't know, like if I just do this, right? Like you'll notice I'm gaining tension like really slowly, like almost not at all. So that's something to think about, right? Now, if I do something like block a burst, right? I'm still blocking. Actually, you know what a good example would be? Let me put myself at like 50 tension. And then let me have him get hit and burst on the close slash. Look how much tension I got there, right? The more you do stuff meterless, the more tension you build, right? And the more you spend meter, the less tension you can build overall. It's so characters can't just like loop YRC Oki and like, so like Venom couldn't just like loop Dark Angel and shit, right? It's like that's how they keep the game together. Anyway, all that to say, it's important with Leo to not kill your tension gain, because you need to have 50 meter to access your win condition. And it's even better if you manage to keep your burst. I think burst super with this character is way more important than using your burst to escape, like for being comboed or whatever, right? Because it makes your mix-up in stance way more threatening if you have all of your resources available to you. So if your opponent's in the corner, and let's say they have, oh, I don't know, Leo's got a lot of guts, so if we put him at like 25 maybe. So like when he's around here, like just out of Hellfire, right? And you have that many resources because you've been playing the entire match really well, and you've built all that up. You're now at the point where the next, you're literally, this is a guess for game scenario right here. So if I get the overhead off, it's over, because I can just do, like, I don't even need to do the double super combo, right? Like, this character's whole game plan is to just get damage incidentally off of, like, running a crazy rushdown game, get into stance while they're in the corner, and then do a mix that will kill them, right? So I don't even really need 100 meter. You only really need 50, because once you're here, like, that's GG's, right? In fact, I think I could have killed from like, oh, I don't know, right around here maybe? This will kill, right? Maybe not. Yeah, he's got a lot of guts. But either way, like, I could have done double super combo and killed him, right? So the idea here is that if you have your burst, you can do burst super. The way that works is basically just do your super input, except with dust instead of S. Oh, I also never talked about his supers. Basically, it's the same shit in Strive. The supers are the same. He has this. It's 0 after the flash. It's a huge projectile that covers the whole screen. You use it for combos and to like frame trap people with it if they're trying to poke out a stance or move unsafely while you are in stance. It's just like a instant like cover the screen, like get outplayed super. And then there's this. Same input in Strive. It's like half circle back forward, heavy. It's a reversal super, sometimes used for burst save combos, like you can do shit like this. Like, I never really use this, but I see Tomo do it a lot, where, like, he'll do combos that, like, end in this, and it, like, can be burst that way. But the main problem with this super in this game is that, like, there's moments where you won't get all the hits. So, for example, in Strive, if they are jumping, like let's say they do a jump in and it's like a bad jump in, and you hit them with this super, it would vacuum them in so that you get all the hits, and it like wall breaks from half screen. It's really fucking good, right? In this game, check this shit out. Oops, I fucking whiffed, and now that he's gonna wake up and punish me. It's pretty bad. Like, you almost always want to use this in a combo, or like if you know you're gonna get all the hits as a reversal. But, like, you can get fucking killed for doing the super. So, keep that in mind. But anyway, so, back to this situation. So, if they're at this amount of life, and, you know, you're making them guess for game, you go for the overhead. This is, you've got, like, no scaling, really, so you just kind of fucking kill them. But if you want to do the low option, that low is really prorated, right? If I do, like, let me just do, like, a few hits in the super, like, you can tell immediately, like, there's a lot more proration on the combo. Not only that, but if you try to do the route that I was doing before off overhead, the combo is scaling really hard, and they'll be able to tech before you can get the ender, right? So, solution is you want to save your burst, and the reason why is because burst super removes proration. So if it's still going to be really scaled here, but if he was at a lower life threshold, so like 25, like last time, the overhead will kill him. And if you want to go low, you have to use burst super, and then in general you'll need to use like all your resources to kill. But like, you can kill people off lows with this, right? It's not gonna work because Leo has too much guts. But like, actually, let me see if I can get a kill here. If I do the good combo into, it's probably gonna draw. Oh no, it didn't. Okay, I got it, right? So that's the idea, is like, his mix-up is more threatening with burst because you can kill off the low. Whereas, without it, you can only really kill off the overhead. So it puts them in a checkmate scenario a lot sooner if you have burst, right? You can also just fucking do it off the overhead too, right? Actually, a really cool combo that I want to use a lot more that I'm not using is it can work anywhere, but it's really relevant if you get a mid-screen hit. You do dashing weapon X super. I think this is really good because it's completely burst safe and like does a fair amount of guts crush. Like, even without the burst super, it's not bad. If you throw burst super into it, like if you have all your resources, you can just win the round. This probably won't kill, but yeah, I could put him at I don't know, 23 or something, like just out of Hellfire. You'll notice like that's really effective against like lightweights. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else right now. I've kind of just been like talking for an hour and a half about shit that Leo does, so I can't think of anything I didn't really cover. Let me just check. I didn't really write. I wrote like a couple notes, but I didn't really. I went into this thinking I was just gonna bullshit it, like just kind of chill and talk about Leo for as long as people wanted to listen. Safe stance entry. Yeah, I pretty much touched on that. Yeah. I don't know, I guess if you guys have any questions, I'll answer them now, and then other than that, I'll just kind of call it a day, I think. Why did I choose Leo? Because I was playing Kai, and I wanted a character that was functionally similar, but got more reward off of being aggressive. That's pretty much it. I wanted a character that could get more reward off of being aggressive, and I want a character that could sacrifice being better in neutral for having better rushdown and better ways to exploit like opponent weaknesses. Kai, you pretty much win with Kai by just kind of playing solid neutral until you have the meter to just set play. Leo, he kind of skips that step. His neutral is not as good, so you have to kind of just be either more aggressive or more, I guess, cognizant of your opponent's habits, so that you can get in. And you can still play neutral with them. You just have to play more carefully. Like you have to place this. You have to like avoid stuff with like. You have to move with that, right? You have to. You know, use your normals in unconventional ways rather than just like with Kai. It's like my normals are just godlike, right? So that's pretty much why I chose him, because I wanted like a character that was sort of like Kai in the sense that he has like he's an all-rounder, but he's more rushdown oriented and more kind of like he can put the fear in people easier, right? That's why I picked him. Did I talk about like ways to get into stance? I think I did, but I just want to like I'll go over it really quick one more time just so it's like absolutely clear, because I don't think I actually touched on that. I think I just kind of like touched on it piecemeal over the course of the stream. But basically, like you have this, which you can do in neutral to go into stance. You can do it on, it's really good on Oki, and you can do it on hit or block as well, but it's not as good because you're -3, and it's like it's a guess, right? They can mash and beat your buttons, or you can do the shield and beat their button. And on IV, they can just throw you, so it's not great. Same thing with this, except this is a little bit safer to go into stance with, but it's a lot slower, so there's that. You can go into stance this way. You can go into stance with Berserker Slash. You can go into stance off throw. And you can go into stance off this move. And it restands them, and you're +3 outside of throw range. And that's it. Oh, there's this too. You can hold heavy to end in stance. It's really only useful on hit. You can't like... I mean, you can screw people out of their punish with it. It's really funny when it happens, but if they got screwed out of their punish, it's because they are just bad at punishing, basically. Or they FD too much and didn't realize how their frame advantage had changed. But this super on block is... -18. So if you miss a -18 punish, I don't know what to tell you. but you can do block everything. You can do it on block. So if you end here, you just mash the fuck out of dust and try and bullshit them. Yeah. I mean, I honestly can't think of anything else. Like, ways to use meter, you want to just like you can do shit like that. It's pretty cool. Like, you can like block string and then like, you know, you're doing your thing. You know, you're chilling and then boom, you run in, throw their ass. That's cool. You can do like projectile YRC is obviously really good, right? But again, you want to do that a lot less if possible because you're gonna like kill your tension game by doing that. But it is definitely good if you want a way to just like immediately have complete control over a neutral situation. What else would it be a good use for meter? For like RCs and shit. Other than like setting like H-boom YRC or whatever. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention dashing berserker slash. If you want to do it, because you don't have the dash macro in this game, you have to do 2366H. It's like that, right? You'll notice if I do a single backdash at round start range, I end up in front. If I do that input, I end up behind. What are his bad matchups? I can go over that real quick. Do you mean like me specifically, or do you mean Leo? Because I can tell you who. Okay, yeah, Leo's bad matchups. So, straight up, his worst matchups are Johnny and Sin right here. These two characters just like completely buttfuck Leo, but like it's the kind of thing where like the Sin player or the Johnny player still needs to be good at the matchup, but if they're good at the matchup, like it's bad. Those are like 6-4. Some people like to say that Johnny's 7-3. I don't think it's that bad. I think Sin at one point was that bad, but he got nerfed enough to the point where I think it's manageable. But they're pretty bad. Like, slightly bad, I would say Coom for sure. In fact, I think Coom is, like, almost as bad as these two. But, like, I think that's just a me thing. I fucking hate fighting Coom. I think this character's annoying as hell and shouldn't be in the game, but whatever. The reason being is because Coom has really good abare, which is tough for, like, Leo really just kind of, against characters without a 4-frame normal, he can structure his block strings and his frame traps a lot easier. Against characters with a 4-frame normal, it's harder, but the fact that Coom has a 4-frame normal that's like the size of Potemkin 2P is just fucking bullshit. So that's really hard. Also, really good pokes to kind of contest Leo trying to get in. And of course, there is the classic, if I have 50 meter, I can wake up super against stance at any point. And the way her super works is it's like she can hold it. So if she can bait shield with it. And if you hold it for the full duration, it becomes unblockable. But and it also vacuums. Basically, you can't use stance against her super. You can't do stance Oki on her super ever. So it's really annoying. Elfelt is like pretty bad. I'd say like 5.5. There's like some pretty interesting interactions in the matchup, like in neutral, and she doesn't really have like too many defensive options that really scare Leo. But the big problem is like the neutral. And having to deal with, like, Elfelt Shotgun. Oh, thanks for the sub, Bruce. Appreciate that. That's pretty bad, I'd say. What else has been? Melia is not great. I'd say it's another, like, 5.5 situation. One of the best throw OSs versus Leo. Can play a game of cat and mouse. Makes it really hard for Leo to win. But if he does hit her, she dies in, like, 2 hits. So that's pretty much the only saving grace there. But this matchup is pretty fucking hard. But I don't think it's bad. I just think it's really hard. Yeah, so anyone who can make space or specifically anyone who can make space or defend against him well. Right? Anyone who can keep him out or keep it so he can't get his game plan started is good against Leo. Dizzy's another one where it's like sort of bad but not really. Eno is like even. People say Kai is really bad for Leo. I don't really think so. I'm just good at fighting Kai, I guess. But probably because I used to play him. Oh, what's up, Pizu? Soul is like slightly bad, I think. But again, I'm used to fighting Soul all the time, so it's whatever. I don't think it's that bad. Raven, I used to think was bad. I still kind of do, but Raven's so shitty now, like in comparison to how good he was in Rev 1, that I really don't think so. I think it's pretty much even. Axel, I have a personal like problem with like against this character. Another example of a character where it used to be way worse. Way worse. When Axel had like Sparrowhawk and shit. I think now it's like I just haven't never learned the matchup because nobody plays Axel really. So, but like there's things you can do to make it so Axel can't really just bullshit you. Like if you IB Renson and Berserker Slash, it beats pretty much everything you can do. That's just like a good example of, you know, an interaction that makes it hard for Leo, but not necessarily like a bad matchup. Venom is pretty fucking bad for Leo. I'd say it's probably as close to Johnny and Sin as you can get, but the thing about Venom that separates characters like Johnny and Sin from him is that Venom does not have very good options for dealing with Leo's block strings and pressure in comparison to these two. Like, Sin has DP, and he has, like, just the typical, like, defensive options that every character can do. Johnny has 5k, which is, like, the fuck Leo button, basically. And Venom has limited mash options, and, like, no DP, no reversal, really, at all, unless he has enough resources to do, like, a burst Dark Angel. But, yeah, I think, like, there's very few characters in this game that I would rather pressure over Venom. Like, Venom is one of the easiest characters for Leo to pressure. He just folds. So, in that regard, I don't think he is terrible. I'd put him, like, at the same, like, place I put, like, Kai, where it's, like, 5.5. Yeah, and that is a good point, too, Pizu, where, like, you can just, like, if he does it as a reversal in stance, you can just use shield and it's over. Thanks for following, Francie. Appreciate that. In terms of good matchups, he doesn't have too many, but Zato is, like, one of his better matchups now. It used to be, like, good, even when Zato was, like, top tier. But now that Zato's bottom tier, and it's still a good matchup, it's, like, one of his best matchups. I think Potemkin is an easy matchup for Leo. It's probably still technically even on paper, but I find it's a really easy matchup if you know what to do. You can make Potemkin players, like, hate their life really easily. Answer, another one of those things where it's, like, probably even, but you can make Answer players hate their life. Slayer is a good matchup for Leo. He has a lot of ways to OS Dandy step options, and he does well in the neutral against him. Keeps up the pace damage-wise with him, and a lot of his buttons give Slayer issues. I think this is probably the matchup I'm most comfortable in, and probably one of his best matchups in general. Jam is a good matchup, but it's like the opposite of Slayer, where it's like, it's a good matchup technically, but Jam can, like, bullshit you way easier than Slayer can. Like, Slayer can bullshit a lot of characters. Leo is not one of them, right? Jam can bullshit Leo, but on paper, it's a bad matchup for Jam, just because he has, like, he can beat her with 2 moves, right? 5 heavy and 2S. Jacko's another matchup that I think is good for Leo. If Leo just focuses on killing houses, like she pretty much can't win because she can't outdamage him at neutral. And Leo has a lot of really good ways of killing houses. He also can unblockable her. That's not a reason why the matchup's good, but he can unblockable her by if you knock her down in the corner while she has a house out, and the house keeps spawning the little dude to come attack you. If you're in stance, you can stance D the minion while she's blocking, and it unblockables her. It's mad fucking funny. I like, it never really happens. Number one, because I never play JCable players. Number two, because that situation never comes up. But when it does, it's like hilarious. Bedman, people say it's bad for Bedman. I think it's probably even, but I don't. Another character that I don't fight as much, so I can't really speak to it. Faust is another one of those characters where it's like, where's Cam? Cam's gonna stay in the line if he's still in the chat. But basically, this matchup is one of those matchups that's like yeah, it's bad. Faust has bigger pokes. There it is, not strikingly problematic. Bigger pokes, like, and a better control over the neutral for a good keep away game. But like, I think Faust folds to Leo pretty bad, especially if it's you're playing, because a lot of Faust players, what they'll do is like they'll play a really strong keep away game against Leo, but then when he's in, they're like convinced that they're so fucking smart that they can always like find these perfect abare options to get him off, right? But like Leo wants that. Like, all I'm doing is I'm waiting for you to try and do like reversal dust, or I'm waiting for you to try and do like FD into like 5k or something, because I can just like call that out and get way more reward than you would get. I like this matchup, honestly. I don't think it's good. It's probably slightly disadvantageous, but I like it. Part of playing Leo in this game is like, you have access to this character with just monster pressure and damage, but he has little quirks in every matchup that he has to get around. That's pretty much it. I can tell you the characters that I don't like fighting, like that I find are hard to fight against, and that would be Baiken, because she has a zombie. Coom, because the whole character is like built to beat this fucking character. Sin, because everything you do feels like extremely risky. Same thing with Johnny, but I actually like fighting Johnny a lot more than I like fighting Sin. Surprisingly, I actually like fighting this character. Melia is like a fucking nightmare to fight against, just because she's so evasive, and she has 4H, which is just a bullshit normal for like a throw OS. That's pretty much it, actually. I also don't like fighting Axel, but I just never play Axel players. So whenever I do play an Axel, I'm like, fuck, how do I play this matchup again? And then I get hoed pretty hard. But hopefully with the rollback, like, a lot of people start picking up a lot of the low tiers, and then I can get more experience. Because like, the other thing is, like, Axel is one of those characters who hasn't really changed too much, but also has changed quite significantly in terms of like how his game plan works, I guess. Axel is straight up nerfed in rollback. No, he is, for sure, because no one's going to be getting hit by 6H or whatever that stupid fucking other overhead that crosses up is. There is no Axel player in auto. Oh, there was Sparkman, but he doesn't come out anymore. Yeah, Thunder Shadow Chain. Edgy ass name. Yeah. That's pretty much it for matchups. Can you guys think of anything that I didn't talk about that I should mention before I sign off? I'm pretty sure I covered like all the important shit. Combos, I'm gonna make a combo video, so don't worry about that. And I'll probably like, I just wanted to do this, but I'll probably make like like more structured videos for everything. So like pressure, combos, and maybe game plan, but mainly like I want to do like a video for pressure and Oki, and then like a combo video before that. You want to see matchups? Okay, I could do like specific like matchup interactions and stuff that are common. It would be easier if like I had like that reversal tool. I should probably download that, because if I had that, I could just show off how to beat like Johnny Super if he wakes up with it. I could like show off round starts and stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. It might break when the game is patched. Honestly, I'm like pretty convinced that when they add the update, they're probably gonna add in some quality of life stuff. Like they'll probably add a reversal tool. They'll probably add take control, stuff like that. But again, like you said, Bruce, it's gonna be down the line. Like it won't be right away. I think people forget that like late October is, yeah, like you said, 2 weeks of beta. It's not like a perpetual beta like Plus R had. So. But, actually, you know what? I want to try and see if I can play matches while streaming. Because I don't know if my PC can handle that, but this will be a good test. They're having build issues with Unreal Engine 3, so it's a big ass to keep the beta up. Yeah, I can't even imagine what you'd have to go through to do that. Damn. That is fucking beautiful. Just seeing all these rooms. Rollback's not even out yet. Feels good, man. Alright, I'm gonna join this. See what we can get here. Okay, it's already not looking good. I can't get a stable 60 FPS. And I'm just in a lobby. Yeah. Alright, let me just bow out, I think. How could I fix that? I guess I can't. Unless I limit my... Limit my bitrate, maybe? But yeah, as soon as I joined, I can't get a stable 60, so that's not a good sign. At one point, I could net play and stream, but it was like, I don't know how I got it to work without fucking up my frame rate. What if I did this? Does that help? No, it doesn't. That doesn't do shit. Okay, well, forget this. Good to know, though. Honestly, I gotta get a new PC. This shit is not well equipped for streaming and playing. But unless there's anything else that you guys wanted to see, I think I've talked long enough. We're almost at 2 hours, so. Alright, in that case, I'm gonna head to bed probably because I'm actually fucking exhausted. But thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you learned something today. I probably should have structured this a lot better just because, like, I was way too fucking lazy to, like, build a whole, like, itinerary for what I wanted to talk about. So I just kind of, like, did a stream of consciousness type thing and just kind of talked about whatever. So it's just gonna be a jumbled mess of a VOD, But yeah, hopefully it was worthwhile. Anyway, I'm gonna make a combo video, and then I'm gonna make a video on pressure and Oki, and I think those will probably be the ones I want to share around more. But yeah, I'm gonna cut this up for YouTube now, and then head to bed. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate all the love, and I will see you next time.